friends. I want to talk about something that's really close to my heart today, just because it's come up a lot recently, because I feel very passionately about it. That's the only reason. Which is the title of this: You Are Beautiful. And how could I possibly know that not knowing who you are? And ultimately, it boils down to what is beauty. That's really what this is about. So I'm going to offer my perspective on what I have personally discovered beauty to be in my journey, why it's important, and we'll go from there. So my journey with beauty, I mean, I've always felt compelled by the beauty of nature in particular, and ever since I was a small girl, I wanted to be beautiful. I mean, I don't know, I think that's pretty common, but it's always been such a desire inside of me to be beautiful, and that just, it mattered to me a lot. And when I began my journey of self-love, I was kind of surprised by the things I found to be beautiful in myself. The way I encountered my own beauty as I chose to love myself unconditionally. It was like I started to question. First, I experienced beauty as courage, as resilience, as resourcefulness, as determination, and a willingness to be emptied of myself in order to make space for love. That's what I experienced my own beauty as, was my choice to do all those things, my commitment to them. And I experienced that as beauty. And that's one of the things too about beauty, is I feel that beauty is defined more by the effect it has on us than how it's communicated, so to speak. Like what physical thing it is, whether it's music, whether it's something visual, whether it's an act of kindness or something. What beauty is defined more by the impact it has in our hearts than what it's coming from. And that's really an interesting thing. Like it kind of defies definition in a way. But the way I ended up just kind of defining it for myself, because I needed to know what it was I was going after. Like I couldn't in good consciousness tell myself I wanted to become beautiful and to seek beauty in others and to seek beauty in general without having any clue what I meant when I said beauty. So I needed to define it for myself. And how I ended up defining it was as something that transcends time. Real. I think of anything real, the way I personally think of it is real is God. Something that's very closely related to God, or that's spiritual. And by that I mean that something that transcends time, that transcends culture and location, and the way that within time, everything changes, everything falls away, everything passes away, and is just so changing. But in my opinion, and my belief is that beauty, my perception is that beauty is something that can touch our hearts, where we encounter the eternal within time. We encounter the things that cannot be tarnished, the things that cannot be made unbeautiful, the things that bring us home to who we truly are. And in that sense, beauty is very, very real. It's what is real, what is true. And for me too, personally, I like asymmetry and chaos, and I find a lot of beauty in that. And I don't find typically beautiful things to be as beautiful as things that are rough around the edges, and things that are a bit of on the wild side, and things that are definitely not symmetrical and pleasing to the eye in the typical way. Because I love things that are a little wild and crazy out of the box. But that's my definition, basically, is beauty is that which is transcended over time and physicality and all of that can't be tarnished. And when I realized, I started growing this beauty in myself, and I experienced my own beauty. And beauty feeds us. It feeds our souls. It makes us feel like we have something to eat, like something we are satisfied by it. And that's actually how I healed a lifelong eating disorder and body image issues, was by feeding myself beauty, a lot of it, in a lot of different forms, very consistently, all the time, every day for years. When I started experiencing my own beauty, I realized that it didn't have anything to do with my appearance. It was like, oh, all of this, what I'm experiencing as my own beauty, has nothing to do with my face or my body or anything else. Like, and sometimes, like, I couldn't even really see it in my face. Sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't. But I was like, I'm definitely not my body. I'm definitely not my appearance. that definitely threw me for a loop. I was like, whoa, well, if I'm not my body, like no one else, like what, then who I know myself to be and who I see myself as within is not the same as what's presenting here. So when I looked at other people, I remember the day it happened. The next day we went to the Science Museum, and I was looking around at people with just this sense of like, who are you? Like, you're not your body. You're not defined by the color of your skin or your gender or any of these things. Like, there's a person in there that I can't see from here, from the outside in this physical way. And I just remember walking around, like, kind of covertly staring at people, like, just wondering, like, who are you? Like, it just was like this, I felt like I'd been cracked open. And then I started to notice, because I've trained myself to love beauty in things that aren't human, like music and nature and just so many different things. And again, these qualities that are invisible, like resilience and courage and love and selflessness. I mean, those things aren't visible. They're all invisible. But they're really the heart of what's beautiful. And as I started to do that, I started to experience beauty in a different way. And one of my favorite moments with this was so surprising to me. I was hanging out with a good friend of mine, and we were watching a YouTube video together. And this friend of mine is young. He's 22. And we were sitting next to each other watching this video, and at one point the person said something, we both kind of looked up at each other, and then one of those like mutual moments of like, wow, that was amazing. But because he was so close, I could see that he's got wrinkles around his eyes. And in that moment, my entire nervous system was like, oh, thank God. Like, it just relaxed. And I was like, that's an interesting, like, I didn't expect that to happen. And I was like, why do I feel so relaxed? Because of the wrinkles around someone's eyes. And I realized, like, I know enough about how wrinkles are formed. I know enough in the back of my mind to know, like, that if you have wrinkles around your eyes, you smile a lot, you laugh a lot, you spend a lot of time outside, you make a lot of facial expressions. And if you're doing those things, then you care about what is good and true and beautiful, if that's how you live your life. Which means I'm safe with a person who is that way, a person who has those wrinkles, isn't over-focused on their appearance. They're not going to judge other people for the surface level things. They're going to see beyond. And it took me a while to piece all that together, but I just remember being shocked at how completely my body relaxed the moment I saw those wrinkles. I was like, oh my God, thank God, you have wrinkles around your eyes. It was just the weirdest experience. And I've noticed something similar with one of my favorite musicians, Jason Mraz, who I just think is one of the most beautiful human beings in every way. And there was a music video of him doing a duet, and it was a duet with this lady, and she starts out singing, and then they're sitting across from each other at a table, and then the camera pans to him, and he's got his guitar, and it's a more recent one, so he's been singing for like 20 years, and he always makes the same face when he sings. Like, there's this joyful way that his face kind of scrunches into this very particular position, and when he sang his first line, I like died of happiness. I was like, you're the most beautiful human being ever. There were so many wrinkles in the way his face like just moved into that shape. It was, oh my God, it was so, I was like, it was just this absolute joy, because he is so clear when he sings. It's like his soul just comes out. It's just the most gorgeous, but it comes out in the shape of his face and how he expresses his face, how he kind of scrunches his face when he sings. And it just was these little things. And I watched Alexander Hamilton recently, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, same thing. Like, the man has all these gorgeous, like, his face clearly contorts into a lot of positions all the time. The way he acts is so powerful. And it's so expressive. You can feel his soul. His presence is so commanding, and it's oftentimes communicated through a very flexible face that's full of wrinkles, because it's used for what it's for, to express humanity, to express grief and beauty and love and all of these transcendent emotions. And to me, that is like the most attractive, beautiful thing in a human being now. I also bought a book. There's this amazing movement, this woman, a photographer, who started something called the Atlas of Beauty, where she photographs women around the world to show this just beautiful, that it's an atlas of beauty. Like, she travels everywhere. And I bought the book because I wanted these photographs. I wanted to be able to touch them. And the women who I found most beautiful were the ones who I could tell had lived from their heart their whole life. And there was just this indescribable quality. And she photographs women of all ages, and the ones I found most beautiful were the older ladies who clearly had lived a lot of life. And one of the things it showed me is something that I had believed to be true, that beauty, especially, I mean, I think because I'm a woman, I can speak more for women, our beauty doesn't come from our bodies, it comes through our bodies. And that's why you are beautiful. because you have something that no one else has, and the way that that comes through you and expresses in your face and lights up your features and animates your body language as only you can, is a way to experience this transcendent being that you are, and no one else can do that. You can feed the world something no one else can. And when we do that, it does literally, I mean, my facial structure and my bodily structure has changed quite a bit since I've rewired my brain, which kind of ties into the last bit, the last little thing that I realized about this, because I'm not one of those people who says, oh, beauty's only on the inside. Like, I'm not going to deny that beautiful people are beautiful people, but for me, a person who's physically beautiful and their soul is not on, it's not lit, to me is just sad. It's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, your pretty face can't make up for the fact that your soul is not alive. That doesn't make up for it. It doesn't really mean anything one way or the other, though. It just means you are symmetrical and you're physically attractive. That's just its own thing. But I did realize that they are connected in a way. Because to me, it was like, I believe, again, my belief is that everything begins in the spiritual. Everything's a thought before it's a thing. You know, the ultimate thing is, in my belief, you know, God created the universe, and it had to be a thought in the mind of God before it could become real. Just like human beings, but even just on the human plane, every invention there is had to be a thought in somebody's mind before it could become a physical thing. So that's how I understand things to be. So in my opinion, if something is beautiful, is truly beautiful within, it will come through in some form on the physical plane. And I learned enough, again, just from life, random things, that the way that we, like, when we're relaxed in a healthy relaxation chemistry, when we're in alignment, when we are in a state of trust, in a state of joy, in a state of love, the way we hold ourselves forms our bone structure. It forms our muscular structure. When we're living in relaxation, when we're living in joy, when we're outside living an active, full life, playing and in the sun and happy and busy and working hard, that shapes our bodies. It shapes our muscular structure. It shapes our skeletal structure in a way that is beautiful. And I've discovered that because the only things for me, my facial structure changed because of my emotional state, and my physical structures changed because I had to heal. I had to heal my core, and I had to use really good alignment to heal my core from having twins. And that's the only thing that's actually given me the attractive body shape I spent my whole life trying to go after. It was like, oh, when I'm in proper alignment for my body to work correctly, hey, look, long lean muscles in all the right shapes and right places. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. So being healthy in like the deepest sense of the word leads to being attractive. And it's like, okay, well, that makes sense in a way, because if it's beautiful on the inside, it becomes beautiful on the outside in time. And then, of course, there's the basic, like, we're meant to be attracted to people who are healthy because, you know, human race continuing is an important thing. And even just on a more basic level, being around other people who are full of joy and happiness and health and well-being is good for you. So being drawn toward people who are radiant from the inside out is very natural. But that was important for me because in my mind, they shouldn't be disconnected. And that's one thing I've seen a lot in discussion in the world, is like this divorcing of inner beauty from exterior beauty. And in my opinion, they shouldn't be separate. We should be an integrated human being whose exterior is a result of our interior. And it just takes the right eyes to see it. But, oh, and yeah, the other thing was just my relationship with my own body because of this. Like, when I started loving myself, it was like, okay, well, how can I find beauty in this? I stopped looking elsewhere. I started just, you know, I didn't look at my body for a long time. For years, I couldn't. It was too triggering. But when I started to actually be able to have a relationship with my own body again, it's like, this body is how I experience beauty. Like, this is how I experience my life. I experience love and through the touch I get because of my skin. You know, I can experience the beauty of the world through my eyes and my mouth and my nose and my ears. I can experience, now I can experience well-being because I've given myself love and I've healed. Like, it's become this sacred place that I hold so dear, and would never in a million years think to compare to someone else, because there's no point. Like, I'm not them. This is the one I've got. And even again, like the stretch marks and the, you know, my stomach and my core, I've looked pregnant on and off for years just because my core has been separated from twins. And it's like, well, I brought two human beings into the world at the same time. That's a pretty big deal, you know? Like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty beautiful. The fact that my body could do that is incredible. And just really beginning to appreciate that. And it's just so different and so nourishing to my soul to put love into my body because I value it, instead of to punish it and demand from it this exterior product to earn approval. It's just such a different thing, and it's so nourishing and relaxing. And that's another thing too. I've always been drawn towards, especially women who are that way, like women who I've met in my life who exude this peace and this comfortability with themselves that makes me feel like I'm allowed to be here. Like when I encounter women who are comfortable in their own skin, it makes me automatically feel comfortable in my own skin. Mirror neurons is what it is essentially, but I've always valued that because I feel that beauty should nourish. That's what it's for. Beauty is meant to nourish. That's what it's meant to feed you. It's meant to feed your soul. So it's totally changed my perception too of why I want to be beautiful. I want to feed people with my beauty, but ultimately that comes from here and from nowhere else. It's infused into the way I move and the way I talk and the way my face and my hair and blah 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 is, so somewhat at least, but it's really the essence, the core of it, and that's what I've always noticed is women who really kind of regardless of what they look like are beautiful and own that, and they stand a certain way and they hold themselves a certain way, and they're full of dignity and care and attention to detail and this kindness and this love and this, the way that they pay attention to you and want to serve you, and their very presence just feels like like that. I was like, that's the beauty I want to offer the world. That's something that will do a lot of people a lot of real good in this world. So those are my thoughts about beauty and why you are beautiful. And ultimately, beauty is an expression of love. Love yourself, and all you're doing is just shining yourself so that your beauty can shine through, because it's already there. Believe in it. Love yourself. Nourish yourself. Allow yourself to be cleansed by beauty, and the stuff that's inside will just blossom by itself. And but yeah, feed yourself first. That's always what matters. So, you are beautiful. I love you. And I hope that you go find some beauty for yourself today. That's my wish for you. Go enjoy the world.